it's 3Preet, and welcome to the last episode of our first season of the 3Preet podcast. Like I mentioned last week, Amin and I will finally answer why we aren't married yet. Not that we owe you all an explanation. So we wanted to kind of talk about like marriage in the Indian culture, and I'm gonna kind of open up the floor with why are we not married yet. So Amin and I can talk, and Jaspreet can kind of chime in as well.
So I think the career episode, we talked about values for a second, and I just mentioned that one of my values is that I really don't want to get married unless I'm marrying someone that I genuinely want to be married to. I think in Indian culture, it's just kind of expected that you reach a certain age and then you go and get married. But I just had a moment with myself a couple of years ago where I just felt like I would say no for a while, and then eventually I just cave in and marry someone just because of all the pressure. And I didn't like how that felt. So I just made that a value of mine, and that's kind of what's been guiding me right now.
Yeah, right now, to answer that question, it was that I was working on myself. I wanted to do my career and work for a while, and so that isn't my first priority. But as like 30 rears on, I think I really do want someone. But right now, that answer was that I wanted my career, I wanted to save up some money, and get a foundation underneath me so I can live independently, and stuff like that.
Don't worry, I'm not going to pressure you guys to get married.
I don't think for me it's so much of I want to be financially stable before I get married. Like, I don't know how realistic that is, but I do feel that way about kids. I think kids are definitely a choice, and for me personally, I wouldn't want kids until I can 100% take care of them financially and give them a good life. Personally, I'm not married yet just because I haven't met someone that I want to marry. So I think in Indian culture, it just seems so easy. Like, you just meet someone and you're engaged after like a day, and then you're married within the next year. And I don't know how that works. Like, were people just like so much more chill back in the day, where like it didn't stress them out like who they're going to be attached to basically for the rest of their life?
I think it goes to cultural norms. Back in the day, I feel like people didn't come to America. There wasn't a lot of Western influence in India. And as the years have gone by, there's more influence, especially with Bollywood actresses coming over here and then taking some of those things that they've learned here to India. And especially seeing people like Liza Koshy and Lily Singh, who have grown up here, and they foster the thought that you do not need to adjust to these society norms that have been given, especially Lily Singh, who's like 30 something and she's still not married and she doesn't care.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed that the trend to get married is so, it went from just your early 20s to your late 20s, early 30s, mid 30s even. I know like so many Bollywood actresses have gotten married like when they were 32, 34, 35. So I think the norm is definitely shifting.
Yeah, and to add on to that, like our parents, they got arranged marriages, and during that time, it wasn't a thing of I'm gonna fall in love with them, but it was a thing of we need to get financially stable. So that's why most people got arranged marriages then. And then as time went on, and what they learned, like our parents learned, was like arranged marriages only. And then when they got here, they're like, oh, well, it can change a little bit.
Yeah, we're really lucky to have grown up here, because even kind of in the present day for girls living in Punjab, a lot of their like what they're looking for in a spouse is, are they going to be able to help me get out of India? Are they going to help me like, get a green card and establish myself in a different country so I can be more successful there and I can bring my family there? And we don't have any of that pressure. We're so lucky because our family's already here.
Yeah.
So, going off of that, when was like the first mention of marriage to you all? I know when I hit my 20s, not even like 21, 22, my parents started saying, "Oh, we had to look for a guy for you. You're probably gonna get married in like couple more years. We should look for them right now so you can like talk to them." How was that? Was that pressure to you all? Yeah. So when was the first mention?
I remember like overhearing my mom about like, oh, she has a rich star or whatever, and then like I got like really mad because I'm like, I'm an independent woman who doesn't need no man, and I just felt like they're so westernized in some ways, but they're so not in other ways. And I was like really shook to find out that like this was something that they were not like very westernized about. And then I remember like I didn't like talk to them for like a full day because I was just like so angry that they thought that like they could like control my life like that. And then I ended up actually having a conversation with Amin, and she like helped me out with the whole like emotions about it and stuff, and how I should not feel angry about this or anyway, that I should know at the end of the day I'm my own person, and whatever I say goes. It's not about what they think. A positive to having, well, there's a lot of positives to having older siblings, but that's a big one.
What about you, Amin?
We're here for you, Jess. I think I don't really remember when the marriage talk started, but I know one of my first Rishta offers was in 2017. So that's 3 years ago. So I was 23 then. So yeah, since 23, it's just been like an endless, when are you gonna get married? And you need to be looking and all of that.
Yeah, going off of like you need to be looking. While we grew up, we got no dating as like the only option. And so we didn't really date. And so now they're just like, oh, you need to find someone. It's hard. I don't know if you all are experiencing this right now, but like it's hard.
I
And
think the number one thing that determines who you're going to marry is location. And we live in a 99% white town. Like there's not. So if I was interested in someone who was white, then I'd be all set. But that's just not the kind of guy I gravitate towards. So yeah, it is hard.
I have a question. If you guys like have kids in the future, would you let them date, and would you like make them marry someone Indian, or would you just like not care?
I'd 100% let them date. I have this vision that constantly like plays in my head of like my daughter like sitting on the front porch with like a bunch of rose bushes having her first kiss. Like I don't know why. I think I would have liked that when I was growing up. So definitely 100% they can date. And I think like if they love someone and they're seems serious and committed to that person, then I don't care like what kind of race they are.
Yeah.
yeah, I would definitely let my kids date. Obviously, I'm going to put a age limit like 16 or 17 to it, but I would let them because in the end of the day, like experiencing what I've experienced, and I'm going to speak for myself, sometimes that's like suppressing your like social being to me. Like dating is a part of everybody's lives. And so that's another thing in like my life that I feel like I just didn't really get to experience that well, and I don't want to take that away from my kids.
Oh my gosh, I 100% agree. Like it just seems like I don't know, sometimes I feel like we're just 5-year-old girls, like with how much we weren't allowed to date growing up, and you definitely don't feel like 100% of a woman. So I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's also weird like being our ages and like finally being able to experience stuff, just because like our friends have been experiencing it for like so much longer. So it's kind of like whatever age we are now, it's kind of like we're finally being able to do what we wanted to do in like high school.
Yeah, I don't think I put an age limit for my like daughter. I think I would just like kind of see the kind of person she is and gauge it there. Like if she seems like a mature, I don't know, 17-year-old, then yeah. But if she seems like an immature, I don't know, like 15-year-old, I wouldn't let her date. But what do you think, Jess?
Yeah, I think like Harpreet, I would kind of give an age, being like, I don't know, like beginning high school, late middle school, just because if you're like younger than that, I don't know, like, is it really worth it? But I'm very lax. And I actually want to ask you guys something. Do you think it's fair that our parents want us to marry someone who's Indian, or is it not necessarily like fair that they want it just to be someone who's Indian?
I get their side of they want someone that's Indian because we can keep our culture that way, and to some extent, but I don't think which race you marry and like you marry out of the culture, I don't think it should be such a big deal as it is. And now I see a lot of Indian women and Indian men like branching out to different races and different cultures to get married to that other person. And so I feel like as time goes by, it'll be the normal, but right now it's not really. It's kind of taboo.
So there's a comic which is titled like The Eventual Decrease of Asian Mothers' Expectations, and I think it was more towards like Asians of like, you know, Chinese or Japanese descent, but it was basically like the mom being very strict, like he has to be this kind of like type of Chinese, and then as the daughter was like getting older, it basically was like, okay, just Chinese, okay, just Asian, okay, just literally any person.
Yeah.
So I think like over time, as we like, if we just keep being adamant that we're not just gonna settle for anyone, I think the expectations are gonna loosen up.
I definitely agree with that statement. Even with like certain people I know in my life, some of them are getting married at 32, 33, and what their parents expected from them when they were 25, they did not expect that from them when they turned like 30, which is unfortunate because why all of a sudden I'm 32, you're like, I don't care who you get married to, you know? So
I think for some reason they think it's like a reflection on them if you can't get married. I don't know if we've talked about this on the podcast, but I know we've talked about this together, that for some reason Indian families find validation in other people thinking that they're great. They for some reason don't find validation within themselves or within their family, which I like definitely don't understand, because like I don't find validation in others. I just want to be me. And I feel like it kind of goes down to that, is that they don't want to be seen anything but perfect.
Yeah, it's a log kya kahoge mentality.
That might not even have to be an Indian thing. That's just like peer pressure and keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah, which like, I don't know. I think it's annoying, especially because the people like outside of you guys, I could care less what people think about me. Like the aunties and uncles I see every 7 years, why do they affect me or like what my parents think about me so much?
I agree with that. Like, if you're not in my life for a certain extent of time, I'm not going to care about your opinion.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm going to see you 10 years, after 10 years, like that, you have no impact on my life.
I also have like an issue with family members who don't understand that we as women want a career. We want to have assets. We want to make something of ourselves, and we don't need a man. We just need ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question.
Yeah.
When you get married, where would it be? What would be like the whole situation? Dresses, bridesmaids, all of that.
I have the color laid out in mind, and you all probably already know which color it's gonna be.
Wait, and can we say it on 3 together? 1, 2, 3. Blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want that like cobalt blue for like my dress even. And then my husband will have like the cobalt blue with like that beige color, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And then bridesmaids and maid of honor, they'll have that blue. I don't know. I have this whole vision. It'll be fun. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be colorful, but I really want that blue.
So my vision for my wedding, it's just I know that if it's here, then my parents are literally never gonna stop working until like the last 2 days. And having a bunch of like Indian guests come to your house, that's so much stress and so much work and so much cooking and so much, khatardari. So I just want them to have a good time. So I think I would genuinely want to go to like an all expenses paid resort in like Mexico and just have like a great time and not have to worry about cooking and cleaning and all of that. And I wouldn't have to worry about my parents not being able to enjoy themselves because they need to go to work.
Yeah. Also, I don't think people realize that weddings are more or less more about the guests than it is like the actual family. Like, if you don't please your guests, you did not have a good wedding, which is like not the best mentality.
Yeah, that's one thing that really irks me. And it probably happens in other cultures and stuff, but like essentially this day is for you, and in the end of the day it's always lok kya kahoge. So
Yeah.
like why does that matter? You're trying to fulfill your dream and how you want your wedding to go. Like why does that matter, you know? If you're happy in the end of the day, then you're happy. It was great.
Yeah. I'd be fine doing like a small like resort wedding and then like partying there and then coming back and doing like maybe one big reception for people that couldn't come. That'd be like really fun, to be honest. That's kind of what Amrit did.
Yeah.
So I wanted to go into a segment.
Ooh.
This segment is what's the first word that comes to your mind when I say. So I have a whole list, and then you all just blurt out kind of what comes to your mind first when I say this word. Okay?
Okay.
So cheese.
Broccoli.
What about potatoes? I don't know why.
Fish.
Curry.
Seafood.
Harpreet.
Nemo.
Did
I think I was still on the fish train.
you say emo?
Nemo.
Nemo. Okay.
Phone.
Apple.
Literally nothing. I didn't think of anything.
Eggplant.
Parmesan.
I just thought of the plants growing outside.
Almond.
Heartbeat.
Yee.
Peaches.
And cream.
And cream, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Android.
What?
Android.
Oh.
It's a phone.
Yeah.
Justpreet.
Heartbeat.
I just thought car. Just for car.
That's fine.
Bollywood.
Music.
Priyanka.
Couch.
Potato.
Potato.
Yeah.
Potato twice.
Literally.
Bed.
Me.
I don't know. I thought car. I don't know why.
That's it.
I like the ones that we both got together, Almond.
That was the one.
We also got potato together.
What was the other one?
I don't remember.
Oh, peaches and cream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, for some reason, like, pictured Harpreet's butt when you said that. Harpreet's got a big peach.
I thought you all would have said booty or butt when I said peach.
I'm so much more innocent than you think, Harpreet.
Whatever.
No. You're not.
No comment. And then when I said eggplant, I thought you all would say something else, but
Oh,
Harpreet wants the dirty.
Harpreet's dirty.
Yeah.
but yeah, that was our segment. I hope you all enjoyed that. I know that was kind of something different. And so kind of like going into more of the subjects, like would you, when your parents were like, we got an arranged marriage, how did you feel about it personally? What's your opinion? Would you get one? Would you not get one?
I would not get one. But that's just my vibe. And it also, like, you guys are older than me, so you're gonna, like, set the tone. Also, the whole arranged marriage thing, it never really, like, I never thought it was weird. But I remember my teacher, she asked the class, like, do you know anyone who's been in an arranged marriage when I was abroad, because we were talking about, like, cultural norms and stuff. And, like, I felt really weird because the whole class was just like, that's so weird. Like, who would do that? Blah, blah, blah. And, like, so I didn't raise my hand. I didn't want to be like, oh, my parents had an arranged marriage, because I knew everyone was going to be like, are you going to get one? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm not in that mood.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not trying to educate y'all today.
But yeah, I wouldn't get one. I'm kind of not, I'm against them, honestly. So
I don't have a problem with the concept of arranged marriage. It's just that the reality is not pretty. So if the concept is like your parents introduce you to a guy and you might like him and then you might decide to date and then get married, cool, awesome. Usually you get like weird introductions to like guys you would never want to talk to, let alone marry. And family is way too involved. Like, I don't need everyone up in my business. So the concept is fine. The execution so far has not been fine. But I just want to like stress that dating is just a numbers game. Like, you just have to go out and like meet enough people and eventually you'll find your person. And that just hasn't been like easy here just because there's no numbers. Like, there's no like amount of guys here that I would want to date. So I just kind of remind myself of that, and that makes me feel a lot better.
So going off of kind of what we've said a little bit before, to me, I really do want to normalize like getting married later on. And so, like, what do you all think of that? Like, for me, if I got married at 30, I'm fine. If I got married at 30, I would be so happy with that. Like, in our culture, getting married at 30 as a female is kind of looked down upon from what I've seen. And so, or you're getting called old, and sometimes you get that comment of, oh, your biological clock is ticking. And I'm like, sure, but I can still have kids for a number of years. So what do you all think?
I think that no one should be caring about your biological clock except for you. So whatever auntie is telling you has probably gone through menopause and is just annoying. That's it.
So like I mentioned, like I think the age for getting married is increasing and it's just becoming normal to get married in like your mid-30s even. And I think that you should get married when you're ready to get married. I don't think that an age should be attached to it. And I think that if you genuinely do want to get married, the only thing I would be encouraging you to do is like, go out and like try to meet people because that's how it's going to eventually happen. So that's the only thing that I would say.
Also, I feel like it's kind of unrealistic to get married at a young age just because you graduate undergrad at like 21, 22, and then if you want to go into your master's, that's a couple more years. And like you want to have fun in your 20s. Like I feel like if I'm like 28, 29, I want to be like partying with my friends and just being a hot mess. And then like at 30, I'll start like caring about my future.
Seriously. One time I got a rishta and the very first thing that popped in my mind was, wait, so I can't just like go out and have a good time anymore. So yeah. That's not what I was thinking, but I can't say what I was thinking, so that's why I said that, okay?
Yeah, I a lot of people, they say like your 30s are better than your 20s. Your life starts at your 30s. And so you have
No.
fun in your 20s, you settle down in your 30s, and that, like, I think that's a great path to go with, you know?
Literally, like, I'm obsessed with The Real. And, like, anytime I watch them, they're like, you have fun in your 20s, in your 30s, you get your shit together, and then in your 40s, you're partying again. Like, age isn't that big of a thing.
Exactly.
Also, like, we're Indians. We don't age bad.
I know. I'm still smothering that sunscreen on though.
So what kind of advice would you give like a brown woman or even a man that's going through kind of the same or similar thing as you have with your dating life, marriage, having that pressure from their family? So what kind of advice would you give others?
I don't think I can give advice.
My advice is that I think as Indian people, we definitely face, like, I guess Indian-American people, we face this weird dichotomy of, like, the realities of the dating world and the realities of arranged marriage and all of that. So dating on its own is really hard. It's even harder when your parents don't encourage you to do it until you're like 25. And then I think the realities of arranged marriage is hard because everyone's in your business and you're getting kind of judged on a list of criteria like education, weight, height, skin tone. So it's hard all around. Don't let it stress you out, and then have your values of this is the situation where I'm going to be happy in, and just make sure you're, whenever you're confused or lost, just go back to your values and that'll help you out. Also, last thing again, dating is a numbers game. Eventually you'll find the one.
Yeah. I definitely echo what Amin just said. Just kind of be open with your parents too and what you are kind of looking for. I know with having conversations with my parents, they know like where I stand when it comes to arranged marriage. They know where I stand when it comes to who I want as my partner in life. And so having those conversations and not arguing during those times is the best way that you can go. Jess, are you sure you don't have any advice?
Honestly, just listening to you guys, because, like, I just turned 22. I feel like just, like, hearing your experiences and, like, hearing your advice has really been, like, helping me. So I really don't have any advice because all the advice I do have has just been said by both of you. I think just having you guys there for me is, like, so beneficial, and, like, being able to, like, I don't know, just, like, talk to you guys, and then hopefully anyone who listens has gained some, like, really good advice from both of you, as I have for the last 22 years of my life.
Aww.
Yeah, so that's it for our last episode of this season.
Oh my god.
Please remember to follow us on Instagram at 3Preet Podcast. We would love to see who listens to our podcast and kind of interact with you all on Instagram.
Yeah.
And also, we're going to have some updates on the Instagram while we kind of have a break from this season to next, and we'll be interacting with you all there. And also, thank you to everyone who has been tuning in every week to listen to us and listen to us talking about our experiences. I don't know if you all wanted to add anything. This is kind of exciting. So
I would say just thank you so much to everyone who's listening, and if you genuinely enjoy the podcast, please like come out and follow us on the Instagram page, because it'd be so cool to be able to interact with people who know what we've been talking about. And I can't believe we're done with this season. We have learned so much, and I'm so excited for next season. Also, if anyone listening has any ideas for episodes next season, email us or message us, DM us. That'd be really cool to hear.
DM us on Instagram.
Yeah. Jasper.
Oh, I just wanted to say, like, thanks for listening. You guys are the reasons I can have a really dope podcast with my sisters. And, like, just thank you for all you've done for us.
Yeah. Bye.
Season 2, let's go.